What is going on? Welcome back to your Lake Fork Guide. Got an episode of the Guides Network today. We appreciate you guys joining us for that. Hey, we just came out of the turnover time. We've had a lot of rain. We actually didn't get on the water this week for our filming day because it was just raining like crazy. But that has finished up the turnover process, and it has immediately already kicked off some of the fall bites. Just the very front small hint of the fall bites are getting started right now, and that's an exciting time of year. The fish group up in bigger schools in the fall than any other time of year, and we're right at the front edge of that. We'll be capitalizing on those patterns over the next couple months, so I thought today I'd give you my best 5 baits to fish throughout the fall patterns. You know, for us down here in East Texas, the fall is pretty much usually about second week of October through Thanksgiving, maybe into the first week of December. So basically October and November for the most part. You know, wherever you're from, it may be August and September, maybe September, October, I don't know, depending on where you're from. But these types of patterns that we'll talk about today will translate to your bodies of water no matter where you are in the country. You just have to correlate it with the right fall temperature changes. You know, right after the lakes turn over, after they get that thermocline established in the summer, then they turn over, the thermocline goes away. A lot of those fish push shallow, and then as soon as the turnover is done with, a lot of those fish will gather back up out deep, and the ones that want to stay shallow will continue on back shallow, and they really start gathering up in big schools. The turnover kind of spreads them out, and then they start gathering up, and this will just build and build and build throughout these fall months, and to where we have the biggest schools of the year feeding both shallow and deep, and it can be just a tremendously fun time of year to fish. With that being said, these fish are moving a bunch, guys. They move a lot in the fall, and so you'll see that in some of these baits that we use a lot of moving baits in the fall. And the other thing to consider too is there's so much going on. There is a lot of ways to catch fish in the fall. There's some baits that didn't make it into this top 5. I love a frog in the fall. A lot of people don't fish a frog in the fall, but a frog can be a tremendous tool in those grass flats in the fall. I love a swim jig. I love a chatterbait. Didn't put any of those in here. A Carolina rig out deep can be a phenomenal tool in the fall. The big 3/4 ounce, 1 ounce football jig. I use the 6-inch hybrid jig for that purpose, but those 3/4 1 ounce big jigs out deep can also be very good in the fall. These are all things that didn't make my top 5 baits. There is just a ton of ways. I mean, a wacky worm, Cinco, almost an unlimited number of ways to catch fish in the fall. But I kind of dwindled it down to my most consistent 5. Let's just go ahead and get into it, and you'll see what I'm talking about. All right, so number 1 is going to be a lipless crankbait. You know, I have people all the time that ask me, when do we start throwing the crawfish colored cranks on Lake Fork? Well, your answer would be now. As soon as the fall bite starts happening, we get out of turnover and the fish start doing their fall thing, I like to throw a lipless crankbait in the craw colors. Now, I will still throw a shad pattern as well sometimes. I still like gold chrome a lot too this time of year. But October is generally when I start picking up the craw patterns on the lipless crankbaits. This right here is a 6-inch Quake 70. My very favorite lipless crankbait on the planet today, right there, guys. I absolutely love the Quake 70. It has the old school BB sound, which I prefer. I think we got to throwing so many one knockers, it's almost like the fish hear less of these. So I've gone back to throwing the old school BB sound. Quake 70, 6-inch fishing, awesome bait. You know, it's no secret that a lipless crankbait works in the fall. It really works year round, but it kind of really starts working in the fall, and that's no secret. But you know, on Lake Fork, we got enough grass in the lake, you can throw it around grass. Heck, Lake Fork's kind of a notorious lipless crankbait lake over the years. Those bass in Lake Fork, they just respond well to a lipless crankbait. You know, I'm mostly fishing it around grass, so my setup is going to be the 7.3 heavy 6 cents Lux rod, and I'm going to throw it on 30-pound braid. That's going to help me rip it through that grass a little easier. If I was throwing it not around grass, so if you're on a lake and you want to try a lipless crankbait, because they do work without grass, you know, you can, if you have a lake that doesn't have grass, that lipless crankbait will work in the fall even without the grass. I would probably throw the 7.1 medium heavy 6 cents Lux rod, and I would throw it on 15 or 17 pound fluorocarbon. Next bait is one of my personal favorites. This bait has caught a lot of big fish for me. You guys have seen some big fish over the years on the channel come on this bait. I was fortunate enough to be one of the first guys in the country throwing this bait when it came out. The 6 cents Movement 80X. I've been throwing it for several years now, and it never lets me down. This bait puts big fish in the boat every single year, and this is the time of year when I start throwing it a lot. It really shines in the cold months in the winter when that hard wobble that this bait has gets a good reaction. But right now is when I start throwing it, we really start catching them on it. This is Wild Shad is the color. Bone Reactor is another good color. I throw shad patterns pretty much exclusively in the fall on the Movement 80X. I'm throwing shad patterns. I like to take this bait and bounce it off as much timber as possible. I actually will steer it into timber, try to hit it with it. Throwing this bait right here on the 7.5 heavy with the moderate tip 6 cents Lux rod, 20 pound fluorocarbon for the line. Those are kind of my two core search baits. You know, if I've got a big old grass flat, I can pick that lipless crankbait up and rip it through all that grass. If I've got a big timbered area, I can get that Movement 80X out there and bang it around off those stumps and everything. And so when I'm searching these big expansive grass areas, when I'm searching these creek arms, looking for these fish as they migrate and move a lot, and I'm having to move a lot, those are my main two tools that I use. Now let's talk about some big fish, because there are big fish to be caught in the fall. Once you've located some fish shallow, maybe hopefully around some grass, that always helps, I think. But once you've located some fish up shallow, if you see any presence of big bait, and on Lake Fork it's gizzard shad, maybe it's herring where you live, maybe it's tilapia, whatever it may be. If you can find a big bait source, a source of big bait fish, then it's time to get serious with them, boys. Go out and get you a Smash Tech Convict, okay? As that water cools off, this is the big swim bait that shines the best to me. There is no swim bait that'll go the same speed and have that right tail action where it's just a slow, wide wag of the tail. It almost looks like a weightless bait just drifting through the water about that fast, and that tail's just, and that head's just wiggling in front. I mean, this bait right here up shallow can catch you a monster bass as the water starts cooling off. And the way we rig it is on a 10-aught owner beast. I like to put a few lead strips on the bottom just to help the bait balance. When you have this much plastic, they tend to want to roll on you a little bit. So put a few lead strips on the bottom of that 10-aught weightless hook, and then that helps keep that bait balanced and running true. Throwing this on the 8-foot heavy rod, throwing it on 20 pound fluorocarbon, and just throw it out there and slowly wind it in. And you better have a good hold of that rod when one latches onto it, because they'll hit it so hard they'll try to take the rod from your hands. This is an awesome swing for the fences bait in the fall. Now, I've talked all about shallow, and I do tend to be more of a shallow guy, but there is one bait that I'm absolutely in love with out deep, and I do spend a lot of time fishing deep in the fall because we get massive schools of fish on some offshore structure, and I'll detail the type of structure they like to use in the fall on an upcoming video, so you guys stay tuned to the channel for that. But my favorite bait in the fall, offshore, without a doubt, is the big spoon. This is old Big Joe Space flutter spoon right here. This is the big one, the 7-inch one. This is my favorite color. I like white. I like the silver chartreuse as well. I also like just the old pearl shad with silver spoon as well that he makes. But this old painted one is just kind of my personal deal, something I believe in, I have a lot of faith in, and I've come to love over the years. But the big flutter spoon is my favorite bait out deep. Now, we're trophy hunting when we're throwing this, and we're trophy hunting when we're throwing this, and I've always liked this color, and I never really quite figured it out. And then I started looking at them, and I was like, I wonder why I like that color spoon. They're kind of similar. But the big flutter spoon, man, it's an awesome bait out deep and can catch some numbers for you, as well as some really, really big fish in the fall. If you want to go out there and swing for the fence, I can't think of no better way to do that. Actually throw it on fairly light gear. I don't want to horse that fish in. I want to take my time with him coming in. I want some forgiveness in my setup. So I'm actually throwing that on a 7-1 medium heavy rod, a 17-pound fluorocarbon, and if they're pulling on me, I'm letting them run. I do not want to pull them up. I learned that lesson the hard way. This is a lot of weight, guys. That's a lot of leverage. When that fish has 1 point of that treble hook, that's a whole lot of weight. If he comes up jumping, there's a good chance that spoon's coming out. So I'm trying to let him swim and stay down. I do not want to be pulling him up. I'm waiting until he's letting me just kind of reel him in nice and easy, taking my time. Usually in the areas I'm fishing that big flutter spoon, I don't have to worry about him getting tangled up in too much stuff. There's not a lot of cover around, if you know what I mean. And last, but certainly not least, you're probably thinking, man, all these baits are moving baits. Does this guy ever slow down in the fall? I do. When I find where they're holding, I will put the brakes on and sit down and go to my old buddy right here, soak that old jig around a little bit. We'll just throw it out there and dang near dead stick it. But this is a 3/8 ounce hybrid jig from 6 Sense Fishing. Got a Smash Crawl by Smash Tech on the back for a trailer. And this is, you know, I like the greens and browns. I like the greens and browns right now. Now, as we get towards that Thanksgiving time, that's kind of when I switch over to black and blue. But right now I'm throwing the greens and browns. And this one right here is called Grass Mutant. And just a little small profile. Trim the skirt right there just below the hook, as you see. I might even trim that one up a little more right to the bit of the hook. Trim that crawl a little bit and shoot it. I want it as nice and compact as it can be. I want to get as small a profile as I can on that jig. I've just had better success with that in the fall. And I'll basically, if I'm in a shallow water area where we've been catching some fish, I will just put this beside every grass edge, every stump, in those areas where we've been getting bit, and just fish it extremely slow. And I catch a lot of fish in the fall, big and small, on a flipping jig like this. So it's my #1 tool. When I do slow down, that's the best one I go. Look, there's nothing wrong with throwing old stick bait out there like the Smash Stick. There's nothing wrong with wacky rigging a trick worm out there. A lot of ways to go about it in the fall, but this is my personal favorite because there is a little bit of big fish factor whenever you pick that old jig up. Well, that's it, guys. I don't know if it's coming through in my voice, but there's definitely a sense of anticipation and excitement in my body right now. I get so excited this time of year. You know, besides the time of year when I see the very first bedfish during the spawn, this is the most exciting yesterday was the most exciting single day of the fishing year for me, because it's the day where I go, I'm starting to see these fish gather up in their fall spots. I started to see some bait and some bass gather up on some of the fall offshore structure. That tells me, clues me in, they're getting into these fall patterns. It's happening. It's starting. Today's the beginning. Somewhere in the beginning of December will probably be the end. And for about 2.5 months, we're fixing to have a good time out on the old goat lake, if you know what I'm saying. I do have some good openings in November. October is booked, completely booked up. So sorry if you're wanting to get out in October. But if you do want to get out in October, still give me a shout. I can set you up with my buddy Mike McFarland or one of our many other great guides here at Lake Fork. And thank you guys so much for watching. If you're interested in anything we showed you from 6 Sense Fishing, their website is linked below. When you do purchase something from their website, be sure you enter that code, Your Lake Fork Guide. It'll get you a 10% discount on all orders from 6sensefishing.com, including those rods, which makes for a pretty sweet deal if you ask me. Smash Tech Baits is linked below as well. You can find these spoons and these big swim baits both on the SmashTechBaits.com website. Yep, SmashTechBaits.com is selling the Big Joe spoons online, so you can order them online. Actually, everything we showed you today, you can buy at those 2 websites. So check those links below. Appreciate you guys watching. Thank you for everything you continue to do to help me live my dream. I appreciate y'all support. Appreciate y'all following me. Appreciate y'all participating in this community of everybody just, you know, loving their fellow man and helping each other catch more fish, because that is what we were all about. That's what I wanted this channel to be about when I started it a couple years ago, and can't thank y'all enough. So, yep, guess we'll see you next time right here on Your Lake Fork Guide.